Let's talk about what they don't cover in those pre-retirement seminars, right? They were all focused on the money. And they forgot to tell you that you're going to need to find new friends in retirement. And maybe you've already come to that realization that, oh my God, who are my friends now? Once you leave the kind of the safety net of your proximity friends, the people that you work with, your colleagues, coworkers, employees, like once those people are gone from your life, and also your network of people that you know through your kids, the sporting moms and dads, all the people that you went to events with, once those people are not part of your daily routine, you suddenly realize you have to start over and make new friends. And this can feel really, really awkward, can feel like almost dating again, like, ew. And so in this video today, I want to talk about how do you find your new people and how do you approach it in a way that just doesn't feel so awkward and icky? Because that was definitely something I challenged myself with. It was like, oh, in the first year of retirement, I still stayed in touch with my friends in the work environment. But then I just drifted. I didn't have the same lifestyle. I didn't have the same concerns. And I didn't want to hear about the workplace drama anymore. It just wasn't part of where I was anymore. And so I think the first thing that people start to think, and it was definitely something on my mind, I was like, shouldn't I already have all these great friends? Like, am I starting over? Here I am at 50, and all of a sudden I have no friends. It was a weird feeling. And so I want to invite you to say that it's not that something's wrong with you, I guess. It's that you've changed. You're in a new season, and that new season calls for new people. That some of the things that were important, like you're obviously not doing sporting events anymore with your kids, and you're not talking about professional goals, and it's just different. What the things you talk about, the things you are interested in, it shifts. And so, yes, you do need new friends for this new chapter of life. So it's not something wrong with you. You shouldn't cling to some of those old people because, again, if they're not part of where you're going, what you're envisioning, you need to leave those people behind. And that can feel painful. It could also feel depressing, awkward. There's a lot of ugly sentiment that comes up when you feel like you're even being left behind or leaving people behind. And I just want to invite you that this new chapter is a fresh start to find new people. And so the first thing that I came up with was I don't want to have surface level conversations. I felt like a lot of my relationships in the past were, again, the proximity relationships. We talked and we knew each other, but it was just surface level because we talked about work and we talked about what our kids were doing, but we weren't talking about goals. We weren't talking about finding meaning in life. Like once you move into retirement, that becomes very important. It's like the meaning and fulfillment. Your whole lifestyle changes, and finding these surface level relationships just aren't satisfying anymore. So as you move into retirement, you're starting to think, how can I have deep, deep relationships? How can I still learn and grow and be sharp, but not be talking about the weather? Right? You want something real. You want meaningful friends. And that's the beauty of the second act, is that you've done the surface level and you're coming at this friendship conversation with some wisdom and some discernment. Not just anybody can be your friend in this stage. Now that you're older and wiser, you know how to pick friends, and you're looking for people who share your values. So as you're looking for, like, who are my people? Where am I going to find them? Start looking to those value-based organizations. It might be for you something to do with your spirituality or your faith-based, but it can also be mission-based. Volunteering. This is great. You have the time to volunteer. This is a chance for you to get to meet people who have the same passions as you. So it could also be hobby passions, that maybe things you couldn't have explored before. Maybe you're really into hiking or being bird watching. I don't know. But finding people who share your passions, your interests, your values is a great way to find new friends, because that's going to give you that deeper level, that deeper connection that you're looking for, that moving away from the surface, how's the weather today, into meaningful conversations. For me, it's a lot about, again, that meaning and fulfillment, but that mysticism, that understanding how the universe works. That's the topics that I'm drawn to. And finding like-minded people is really cool, because now we can geek out about a topic that I wouldn't talk about with the people that I used to know. It wouldn't have been a relevant topic. So that's my first tip for you, is to really start to look for meaningful connections. Don't be afraid that you're starting over. You're actually coming up with a fresh page of new people in this next chapter. The second thing is, you might be feeling like, am I going to fit? Like, a lot of times you go into a group and you just feel like this awkward needy person, like someone talk to me, please, please, please. So as you're evaluating groups to start to enter new communities, look for ones that are very public and open, meaning that new people are constantly coming in. The word beginner is now your new friend. If you're taking a class or joining something, you want a beginner level or an orientation, something that new people are coming to, so you don't feel like you're stepping into an existing group with very tight bonds. There's nothing worse than feeling like you walk in a room and everybody's talking to everybody and you're just standing there like a wallflower. Those days are over. Again, you're older, wiser now. You're not going to settle for that. So now you need to look for the clues. And Meetup, a lot of times it says if somebody's a first-time attendee. So that'll give you a clue. Okay, there's new people coming in. There's people I'm going to be able to strike up conversations with that aren't necessarily best friends with everybody else in the group. So look for that open, public, and a lot of times going to a talk. Like my library is always hosting talks on a particular topic. There you're going to find people who maybe share an interest because maybe it's a historical talk, but it's also going to be a group of people that don't necessarily know each other. They just share an interest. So it hit both of those topics of interest and newness, where you can go in and strike up a conversation and you already have something to talk about. The third tip I have for you is look for activity-based things. Walking groups are great, or like I started a Mahjong group, and so we're doing something which kind of takes some of that awkwardness away of how do I make small talk. It's because you're talking about whatever it is you're doing. So in the Mahjong group, we were learning how to play and asking questions, and then the social stuff starts to come in, but you're doing something so it doesn't feel so awkward. It's just a gentler thing. So always look for those activities, especially if it's something that you wanted to learn, like pickleball. This is something I'm learning, but it's great because when I'm there, again, I can go to the beginners group, so that's already allowing me to step into something where I feel welcomed. But I'm also kind of meeting other people who are retired and that want to stay fit. And so we can talk about fitness related things. We can be watching as we're sitting. You always have a rotation out of the game and then a rotation in. So I can sit there and I can strike up a conversation about what we're watching or learning the rules or where'd you get your, like all of a sudden we have things that we can already start to talk about that don't feel awkward or forced. It's like, oh, we can start just talking about what we're doing, why you're playing pickleball, and then just how else are you navigating retirement. So activity based, looking for new people, that welcomes new people. And again, something that you have a common interest or a passion in is great. I think then the next thing is like, how do I really put myself out there? You don't want to walk into a group and feel like, again, that dating feeling of somebody's going to try to pick me up. If I strike up a conversation with someone of the opposite sex, are they all of a sudden going to feel like I'm trying to pick them up? Like, what an awkward feeling. You're just trying to make friends. And the thing I'd say is that as you're approaching these groups, always be thinking about who you want to be in this conversation. This is a chance for you to reinvent yourself, and now you're looking at what's important. And if someone is in this conversation with you that makes you feel anything that's awkward, you're now older and wiser to walk away, put those conversations aside. I've had a few men try to pick me up, which is just awkward. I'm just like, no, I'm not interested. And so it's like, you know how to give off signals. You are so good at this, you just don't even realize it. You know how to put up the signal that says, whoa, this is not appropriate. And you're also, don't be such a timid person. Like, you don't really care what people think of you anymore. As you enter this stage of life, you just don't care. And if someone starts to come on, you just say, hey, I'm here to meet people, and I think that's great. I'm not looking to take somebody home. I mean, you have the balls now. I'm sorry to use that kind of language, but you don't care what people think of you. You're discerning. You're over 50 at this point. You're like, no, if that's not what you're interested in, shut it down now. And then maybe you can still have a friendship with this person. I mean, this one person came up to me at a book event, and I was just like, no. I said, this is not the conversation we're going to have here. If you're interested in a book, I'm glad to talk to you about it, but no, we're not going there. And it shut down, and it was great because after that it was fine. And he was just like, oh, so sorry. And after a few minutes of awkwardness, we were able to just continue on it and talk about books, which was great. So don't feel like you have to be kind anymore. You can be direct. It doesn't mean you're nasty. It just means you're direct. Hey, not interested. Move on. So as you're moving into this new stage of life, also remember that you're just sampling groups. Like when you go to a group, it's not like you're making a lifelong commitment. You're going to go and you're going to try it out, just like you try on a pair of shoes or you try out a new menu item at your favorite restaurant. You're just trying it out. If you walk into a group and it's not for you, walk away. You're not making commitments. Don't look for groups where you have to join on the first time you attend. That is not the right thing for you. You are sampling things. The next thing I would say is take classes. Again, going with that sampling idea, take classes in a whole variety of things just to see what might spark an interest for you. But again, other people who are interested in that same topic are going to be there. It's a chance for you to strike up conversation, and maybe they're much further along in their exploration of this topic, where you get to just say, hey, what have you learned? What classes have you taken? What books have you read? Who have you met? What groups have you joined? Classes are a great way to just step into things and explore and meet people at the same time. Are they going to become your best friend? No, of course not. This takes time. That's where you want a group that regularly meets. So a topic group is great for starters, but then you want to find a topic event is great, but you want to find those groups then that meet on that topic so that you can form the friendships. You need the exposure and re-exposure and re-exposure to these people before you can start to build a friendship. So don't walk into a conversation feeling needy, like I'm going to meet this person, then I'm going to go out for coffee with them, then I'm going to do this, then I'm like, that was in the business world. In this world, it's much more relaxed. In your second act, it's more like frequent interactions with somebody over time to decide if you want to be their friend. Again, you're more discerning and you're looking for that value-based relationship. You're looking to go deeper than you did in the past. There will still be surface people. There'll be people that you just play a sport with, or people that you just have in your book club that you're not going to go any further with, and that's okay. Remember, not everybody needs to be your best friend, and you don't really need to have a ride or die at this point. I think sometimes you go into it like, oh, I got to have my bestie anymore. And maybe you've grown apart from your bestie. That's what happened to me, is over time we just drifted apart. But you don't necessarily need that ride or die as you move into this chapter. Now it's more about with an audience of just having all kinds of people to keep your mind alive, to keep that spark going, to keep you thinking and challenging. Look, don't consider only people who think the way you think. Look for people who think opposite of the way you think, just to get them to challenge you, get you to think, to see new perspectives. One of the things that people worry about as they're moving into retirement is having the rigidity of thinking a certain way and not even being aware that a whole different world is happening. Like especially in tech, you can see that, right? You're used to the tech that you're used to, and you never go and explore other tech. Well, it's the same thing with topics. You need to have people introduce you to topics that are more current and get to hear all different opinions, because again, it keeps your mind firing. But sometimes a friend is somebody who's willing to have an honest conversation that doesn't necessarily say, oh, I agree with you. Oh, I agree with you. It's like, no, I don't agree with you. Here's why. This is great. This is time to have intelligent conversations. This is the time to go back to philosophy and really start to look at what makes me tick. You're looking for more meaning in this stage of life. And so the people that will help you question meaning, that will help you see new perspectives, those are the people that you want to take on the ride with you in this next act. So it's a very different friendship group. Again, your old friends were great, but it's time for something new in this new chapter. So I hope I've given you some ideas. Don't be afraid. You're going to go out there. You're going to find some people. There's going to be some awkward moments. It's okay. You're not going to die. You're going to have an awkward moment. You're going to say, hey, that group didn't fit me, or that event was the wrong type of event. And now I know. You're learning. You go on to the next one. So, and again, volunteering is a great thing. So when I talked about activity-based groups, volunteering is a great way for you to really meet people. Again, it meets the criteria of having a shared mission or a shared goal. They're always welcoming new people. Volunteers are like gold. You're always welcome. You're always being brought in. And you have something to do. You're working on a task. You're being given an assignment, and that assignment will allow you to then meet the committee members, meet the board members, get involved deeper. And now you have a path that you can follow to say, hey, if I really like it, I can take on this role, or I can take on this project. And so volunteering is a gold mine for you, and it's a gold mine for the people that need the help. So it's a win-win. So again, that's why volunteering is so popular in retirement. It allows you that connection to meaning and to people who share that meaning. What a great marriage. So I hope I've given you great ideas. We'll see you in the next one.
I'm a second act coach helping successful women actually enjoy retirement, not just survive it. If you've recently stepped away from the career grind and found yourself thinking, is this it? You're in the right place. This channel is all about helping you reconnect with what lights you up, spend your time and money with intention, and feel alive again in this next chapter. We talk mindset shifts, identity reinvention, journaling, energy, and how to stop living on autopilot now that you finally have your time back. A retirement life retirement without feeling weird.